In a Hail Mary pass to get a literary agent to consider my novel Icarus Transfigured in 2007, I sent him Omar's introductory letter for chapter 26, in which my philosopher attacks the naive and unsubstantiated presumptions behind natural selection. The agent was so impressed with my writing that he sent me a personal rejection letter, telling me my project was intriguing, but it was not his area of publishing. Such is the history of my life. Here, the chapter 26 letter is paired with Omar's chapter 25 letter, which is also a critique of natural selection.
Dear Grasshopper, human spirituality initially demonstrated no legitimate evolutionary purpose. Yet, with practice and ingenuity, evolutionary psychologists massaged an explanation for it into place. Salubrious benefit may be derived from religious self-delusion, since natural selection must dissuade its pawns from a sense of hopelessness on behalf of the species. This assigned psychology is peculiarly a devious one, since a blind process, evolution, cannot consciously devise a motive. God begins in the brain as a coping mechanism, so science argues, and the God spot found in the brain is its physical proof. The mechanism, and not God, is surrendered to reason, and by the same logic that concludes bingo and worship are coextensive because both occur in a church. A word salad comes to modify intangibles, and rational precepts become empirical facts through a process of mysterious conversion. At the heart of it, although never acknowledged, value is posited in materialism without value itself ever being accounted for as material. To claim the value we attach to stars is a function of our endorphins may be true as a physiological matter, but it is not the thought of endorphins that induces endorphins. It is the thought of something immaterially greater than ourselves. Dear Grasshopper, in truth we find as much order in this world as blind and cutthroat chaos. And where chaos is viewed as the sole architect of all we survey, we cannot satisfy our intellects for how it taught itself to see. Order, if not design, is accepted prima facie, and like a giant who is too large to get under a microscope, it is nevertheless appreciated for providing shade at picnics. 15 billion years of random evolution could never spell out all the works contained in the Library of Congress with dead leaves and a fast-moving river current. And so the bully boy of infinity, which is not science's friend in any other regard, is employed by science to improve its odds. The infinite monkey theorem allows that even one monkey, typing randomly on a typewriter for infinity, could write Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. However, why should there be precisely 26 alphabetic characters at one end and Romeo and Juliet at the other? This analogy assumes more than is presented in the analogy. For if there were 25 characters in the alphabetic set, the play could not be written. It is similar to Semmel's mathematical refutation of Nietzsche's concept of eternal recurrence, where a number combination that sets off a production of random numbers is never itself repeated. Infinity is not even a friend to itself. Yet, where cracks cannot be serviceably papered over or sketched in with broad to-be-finished-later detail, one must pass over the in medias res nature of reality without comment. And with the bureaucratic's faith that where one set of unanswerable questions leaves off in one field of study, they are picked up without interruption in the next. Reductivists simply assume that the inherent state of things to be what they are and do what they will requires no suppositions before single-cell organisms and no explanations after random adaptation. Still, some who are discomforted by these conundrums feel compelled to speculate, and beyond making cynical appeals to typewriting monkeys. If the universe is infinite, they argue, then to say God is infinite is only to rename the same thing. And why is personality needed where infinity does not imply it? God, ergo, becomes an unnecessary noun. This is to get it exactly backwards. Most people are less affronted by the ideal of an uncaused God without end than a causally connected universe without end. This is because God's ontology does not lie in the conceptual but in the intuitive. The poet Auden, when he set his ethic in opposition to mute and distant stars, described himself as the caring one. Infinity cannot be reformed since it does not care. Its domain, as Borgia related it, is as the corrupter and destroyer of all other concepts. Intuition, through its immediate and occasional door, is less hopeless. It tells us we are not parentless in a sea of infinite begettings, only intellectually estranged. Nietzsche said there is always a drop of cruelty in our desire to know, and when Adam partook of the tree of knowledge to exalt his mind over his domain, he lost temporarily the salient virtue of an intuition that warned him off vanity.